It's time again for Oklahoma Sports Scene. Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Glad you're watching wherever you're in Oklahoma. Cox Channel 3, your view. Of course, worldwide on YouTube. Just look for Oklahoma Sports Scene. Take a look now. Let's turn our lineup card for you. This is coming up on the show this week. NCAA softball regionals, Big 12 and Summit baseball tournaments. Talk about these great teams these states produce and some big-time action for you. Here from Coach Patty Gasso, the Oklahoma Sooners' incredible softball team, #1 in the nation, going for a national tying win streak. 148th Preakness Stakes, we'll recap that with NBC Sports' Randy Moss. Mick Wilson joins us from the Tulsa Public Schools, the athletic director. Talk about a big golf tournament coming up, and also the TPS Athletics Hall of Fame, the first week of June. And Erik Konkol, the new men's head basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, will join us, talk about rebuilding the TU program, all the work he's done and his staff on recruiting. Let's check now this week's Tulsa World Hot Topics. We'll start with the just concluded PGA Championship. Live golfer Bruce Koepka won golf's second major, the PGA Championship, this past weekend, the Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester, New York. Final score of 9 under par, 2 shots clear of former Oklahoma State University star Victor Hovland. He tied, by the way, with Scotty Scheffler for second. They both earned $1.54 million. That's for second. Koepka's third PGA title, his fifth major championship, and his record winner's purse, by the way, the check was $3.15 million. Got to be a golfer. Well, a sad moment in sports. Most consider him the greatest pro running back of all time. Jim Brown led the NFL rushing in 8 of his 9 seasons. Died last week at age 87. 8 times, Brown was the leading NFL rusher, including 5 straight seasons. He led the Cleveland Browns to a world championship in 1964. He's a strong advocate for civil rights. Jim Brown was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame back in 1971. After a 6-game road trip to Corpus Christi, the Tulsa Dwellers returned to Tulsa with a 24-15 record and are in second place, just 1 game behind the Arkansas Travelers in the Texas League North Division. The Drillers now host a 6-game homestand already underway against Northwest Arkansas, May 23rd through 28th through this Sunday at One Oak Field. Tulsa Oilers football team had no luck in Las Vegas this past week. Lost to the Nighthawks in Vegas 46-32. Trailing the entire game, Tulsa cut the Vegas lead down to 40-32. Alex Rosario caught a 22-yard touchdown pass with just 43 seconds left. They made the score 40-32, but Vegas countered with a final score to claim the victory. Oilers are back home this Saturday, the 27th. They'll host the Massachusetts Pirates. It's Military Appreciation Night on the Memorial Day weekend. So come out and enjoy. Kickoff 7:05, BOK Center. We'll see you there. Great football action. The Tulsa Oilers football team. Get out and support them. FC Tulsa Soccer, Memphis Memphis 901. FC Edge, FC Tulsa 2-1 this past Friday night at One Oak Field. All the scoring happened in the second half. 54-minute mark, Tulsa goalkeeper Michael Nelson made a great diving save, but the rebound was put back in the net by Memphis. After they took a 2-0 lead, Tulsa scored in the 83rd minute as Dario Suarez got the 29th goal of his Tulsa career. That's second most in club history, second only behind, of course, the great Rodrigo da Costa with 36, the team record. FC Tulsa record now drops to 1-4 with 6 draws. They will play the next 3 matches on the road. Boy, a tough time for FC Tulsa. They're on the road at Louisville, at Monterey Bay, at Loudoun United. They're not home again until Saturday, June the 17th. They'll be hosting Orange County FC. Remember, June 17th. Welcome FC Tulsa back home. They're going to need your support. Tulsa hosted its 3rd annual Ironman Triathlon this past Sunday. Total of 140.6 miles, starting with a 2.4-mile swim in Lake Keystone, then a 112-mile bike race, then finishing in downtown Tulsa, finish line for the 26.2-mile traditional marathon. Clay Amy from Tyler, Texas, finished first with a time of 8 hours, 55 minutes, 10 seconds. The top female finisher was a Tulsan, Jessica Jones Lacey at 9 hours, 43 minutes, 49 seconds. That's the 13th best time overall. Last week's show, by the way, we had 2 athletes right here with us, the brothers Dr. Chuck and then Roy Zellner. They sent us a video of them finishing. Boy, they look tired, don't they? Chuck finishing first with his brothers there. Count your time. You must finish 140.6 miles there in under 17 hours to have it qualified. Well, Chuck's time was 12 hours, 56 minutes. Roy came across the finish line in downtown Tulsa about an hour later, but still well under the requirement. 13 hours, 6 minutes, and 21 seconds. Well done, Z-Boys. Well done. I'm tired thinking about it. It's been a very good week. OU and OSU softball, OU and OSU baseball, and Oral Roberts University baseball as well. We'll take a look at our softball, baseball teams. Here from Coach Batty Casso, the Sooners' #1 team, when we return on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Glad you're with us.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. It's Military Night, Saturday, May 27th, 7:05, live at BOK Center. All fans who show a military ID at the box office get a ticket for just $5. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. Get your tickets for Military Night now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine-in, curbside, or carry-out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Remington Park Racing returns with the 2023 Spring Quarter Horse season, running from March 9 to June 3rd. $1 million races, multiple Saturday programs featuring the best horses in big money action, and racing champions all competing throughout the season. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Thursday through Sunday. First race at 6 p.m. nightly, Sunday afternoon racing 4 p.m. The top quarter horse paint and Appaloosa racing season continues through June 3rd at Remington Park.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank. We never forget it's your money.
It has been a great start for our college softball and baseball teams here in the state of Oklahoma. Both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State dominated their regionals this past week. They had 3-game sweeps, and now they move on to host the Super Regional games, one step away from the College World Series. Now, the #1 Sooners softball team continues to dominate. That's not even the word for it. They just destroy the opposition. They're winning their 3 games via the run rule, outscoring Hofstra, Missouri, and California by a combined 38-3 in the 3 games. They go on to this week's Super Regional with a 54-1 record, a 45-game win streak, one shy of the national record, and of course the #1 ranking in all of college softball. After the 16-3 rout of Cal to complete their regional sweep, head coach Patty Gasso had these post-game comments.
Great start for us. The team came in ready. We knew that this is a day that a lot of teams' seasons end, and we just decided it wouldn't be ours today. So they came out and punched really quickly and just kind of kept it going throughout the entire game. All parts of the game were working well for us. There was a little hiccup with Alex, which wasn't anything that was concerning. May came in, did the job. Love to see Katie close it. So everything really worked really well today. I can't ask for anything more. I mean, we work hard every day. All of our hard work is paying off, especially in postseason. You can see the training and what it does, and the information that they get and how they're responding to it is at another level. A level that I think sometimes is different than a lot of programs. So that's all we can ask, is that they respond and they show up every time we're playing, and they do it.
The Oklahoma State Cowgirls were also dominant in their regional, having a 3-game sweep, ended with a 5-2 win over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. OSU meets Oregon in the Stillwater Super Regionals to get things started over there. College Softball World Series, June the 1st, in Oklahoma City, of course, at the USA Softball Hall of Fame Stadium. College baseball moves into conference tournament play this week. Big 12 tournament at Globe Life Field down in Arlington, Texas, opening with Bedlam, #2 seed Oklahoma State against #7 seed Oklahoma. Cowboys finished the league season 15-9, and they made some history. They're part of the very first ever three-way tie for a baseball championship in the Big 12. Oklahoma State, Texas, and West Virginia share the regular season title. Well, Roberts University's baseball continues its Summer League dominance. They swept all the regular season series at Western Illinois. They now take the nation's leading win streak 15 games in a row to the championship tournament of the Summit. That's going to be in Fargo, North Dakota. They open this week against Omaha. And congratulations to the University of Arkansas head baseball coach Dave Van Horn, just named the SEC Coach of the Year. Next, we'll recap the 140th running of the Preakness Stakes, second jewel Racing's Triple Crown, with NBC's Randy Moss.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine in, curbside, or carry out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. It's Military Night, Saturday, May 27th, 7:05, live at BOK Center. All fans who show a military ID at the box office get a ticket for just $5. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. Get your tickets for Military Night now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
And we welcome you back to Oklahoma Sports Scene at the Billy Sims Barbecue Farm Shopping Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wrapping up now Saturday's Preakness Stakes, the second jewel of Thoroughbred Racing's Triple Crown, 148th running of the Preakness at Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore, Maryland. Only the Kentucky Derby winner, Mays, was back from the 18-horse Derby field that ran 2 weeks ago at Churchill Downs. That hasn't happened since 1948, only one Derby horse in the field. Field of 7, by the way, also the smallest in the Preakness Stakes in 37 years. The 8-5 favorite was the Derby winner, Mays, challenged by the number 1 colt, National Treasure. Here's Larry Comas from NBC with a call of the Preakness Stakes as they turn for home.
And they're into the stretch. National Treasure taken on by Blazing Sevens. Mage wanders inside. Still work to do with him. National Treasure dig again. Blazing Sevens. Mage is third. It's National Treasure. It's Blazing Sevens putting on a show in the Preakness. Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be National Treasure. John Velasquez gets his Preakness, and Bob Baffert has won his 8th one. Blazing Sevens was second best. Mage ends up third, and a great stretch run in the Preakness Stakes.
And to recap the Preakness Stakes of 2023, we're joined by our good friend, NBC Sports top thoroughbred racing analyst, Randy Moss. Randy, it was quite a day at Pimlico, and well, I tell you, the race started out a very small field, only one horse back in the Derby, was the Derby winner, but it turned into a pretty good day of racing.
Yeah, I mean, there were some really, really strong performances on the undercard by horses that could turn out to be, really something special. And the Preakness Stakes, for only a 7-horse field and for lack of credentials for some of the horses in the field, arguably the weakest Preakness field that I've seen since I've been covering the Preakness for a long time. At least it had a very exciting stretch run between National Treasure and Blazing Sevens. Johnny Velasquez on National Treasure, Irad Ortiz on Blazing Sevens, went at it tooth and nail from the top of the stretch to the wire. So it was an entertaining Preakness Stakes, at least.
And he had some history made, too. Bob Baffert became the winningest trainer ever of Preakness winners, 7 now? And then and Johnny V finally broke his, he was 0 for 12 in the Preakness, the only jewel he hadn't won on the Triple Crown race, right?
Yeah, 2 of the real puzzling jockey statistics going into this year's Triple Crown was Javier Castellano being 0 for 15 in the Kentucky Derby and John Velasquez being 0 for 12 in the Preakness. So we took care of both of those so-called slumps in a 2-week period.
Well, the smallest field in 37 years. First time that only one horse came back from the Derby since 1948. So it really wasn't tough to get too excited about the race. But then National Treasure. I know Bob Baffert thought a lot of this horse early on, and good to see Bob back on the Triple Crown. That now for Bob, again, all-time leader in Triple Crown race wins at 17. What a record.
For my money, Chris, Bob Baffert, for all of the criticism he's gotten, and, I know some people don't like him. Some people think he's bad for the sport because of all the controversy that's followed him recently. For my money, though, Chris, he is the GOAT. He is the greatest trainer of all time in horse racing. And most certainly, he's the greatest trainer in Triple Crown history. Yes, Ben Jones won a bunch of Kentucky Derbies and Triple Crown races as well. But in that era of Calumet Farm, back in the 40s and 50s primarily, the foal crop was a lot smaller. The field sizes were a lot smaller. It was easier to win major races like the Kentucky Derby then than it is now. And Baffert has done it in a very difficult time to do it in horse racing. Even in the Breeders' Cup, he's dominated, especially the Classic. So no surprise that he would come back swinging and win the Preakness.
Well, let's go back through the Preakness race itself. How about you and your co-art Jerry Bailey, the Hall of Fame jockey, set up beautifully. It was a race all about pace, and you guys are right on about the pace.
Yeah, there were only two horses in the field with any speed at all. And we had talked to John Salzman, the trainer of Coffee with Chris, before the race, and I had asked him point blank, so since you're the only other speed besides National Treasure, what's the plan? Do you go up and you try to hook National Treasure, keep him honest? What are you trying to do? Well, Coffee with Chris was probably the longest shot on the board, I think, as it wound up. And they were just happy to be there, and they wanted their horse to run well. They didn't really think he had a chance to win. And they thought that by going up and hooking National Treasure, it would sacrifice any chance they had to win. So their strategy was to sit back in second, give National Treasure the easy lead, turn it into a match race, a two-horse race, and hope then that they could duke it out to the wire. That's why we knew that if National Treasure got a decent start from the gate, the pace was going to be exceptionally slow. And it was 48.92 for the half mile. I went back in the history books, Chris, to see when the last time that happened. When Secretariat won the Preakness in 1973, this was before they timed races in hundredths of a second. That Preakness was 48 and 4/5. So it could have been as slow as National Treasure, but there was a timing malfunction. Remember, the teletimer screwed up. So that race is a throwout. Then you got to go back to 1960 when a horse, I think his name was Ballyache, went wire to wire with 48 and 4/5 of a second. Before that, it's Citation in 1948 in a four-horse field. So this was a historically slow pace. I'm actually surprised National Treasure didn't win by more.
Yeah.
I thought, given that easy of an early pace, he should have drawn off and won by 2 or 3 lengths. So credit to Blazing Sevens for turning it into a really good race the last quarter mile.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks before they wind up the Triple Crown at Belmont, the test of the champion, 1.5 miles. And what have you heard about the field so far? What do you think the prospects are for the Belmont Stakes?
Well, Baffert is said to be leaning toward the Belmont for National Treasure, assuming he bounces back out of the race. Remember, he hadn't run since the Santa Anita Derby, and before that, he hadn't run since January in the Sham Stakes. So he's a relatively fresh horse. But I think he's really going to have his work cut out for him in the Belmont. He's not going to have that easy early lead like he got in the Preakness Stakes. So to me, I think National Treasure would be a good horse to bet against. Todd Pletcher seems to have the Belmont down to a science, with a horse that runs in the Derby, skips the Preakness, and waits for the Belmont. And he's got Tappet Trice, who was disappointing in the Kentucky Derby, never really got on track. I've thought, since he won the Tampa Bay Derby earlier this year, that he would be the Belmont Stakes winner. And I still think that I would be leaning in that direction. But you're going to have Angel of Empire, who was third in the Kentucky Derby. You'll probably have Hit Show for Brad Cox. He's also the trainer of Angel of Empire. Hit Show ran really well in the Kentucky Derby. Pletcher's also talking about bringing back Forte, which is somewhat surprising to me since he hasn't had a race since the Florida Derby. Remember, he was scratched from the Kentucky Derby. So it should be a very competitive, very good field in the Belmont.
Yeah, Jerry, addressing the breakdown, of course, in the on the preliminary race,
Yeah.
the Chick Lang Shakes, and I just felt so bad. Well, first for Bobby and the horse, and I just wish people understood how much these horses mean to these trainers and how they just are so careful about taking care of them. And these things happen in racing. It's a shame, but boy, it's really been tough on the sport to have it on the classic days.
Oh, what a devastating way to start the day. I mean, we were just crushed. And I mean, and of course, we were, not nearly as close to the horses as Baffert and his assistant, Jimmy Barnes, and the grooms and all the stable help that have been taking care of these horses. And it doesn't even have to be having a meltdown was a really good horse. It doesn't really have to be a good horse, just a member of the family in the barn. To have something like that happen is just a really, really tragic deal. It cast a pall over Bob's Preakness win. He said he can't really be excited about it, thinking back on it, because all he thinks about is losing that horse earlier in the day. And he said going forward, even though he set the record for the Preakness, anytime he thinks about National Treasure winning the Preakness, it's going to be accompanied in his mind by the image of having a meltdown. So really unfortunate.
I know we have another new racing organization, more alphabets for the sport to supposedly give us better, consistent rules and standards and stuff. And I think you made some good points too, man. The telecast, I applaud you for getting after the industry to, that thing with Forte to have it being delayed 7 months before they make any decision or ruling. That's got to stop. And what about this new organization? Will it help horse racing? Do they have clarification yet?
Yeah, it was a bipartisan initiative, the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act, HISA, they call it HISA. And it's had some growing pains, and it's had some court challenges, almost 100% by the National HBPA, Horsemen's Benevolent Protective Association, which has been trying desperately to get it stopped, which is not a good look for the HBPA.
That's the trainers, right?
Yeah. Horse racing has had a chance, Chris, for 30 years to take care of its own house, to clean up its own act, to solve its own problems. And we've heard consistently over the period of time, that we can do this. We don't need federal involvement. We can do it ourselves. And, most people don't like the federal government to be involved in things that they don't need to be involved in. And I wish this wasn't a situation where, that called for federal involvement, because let's face it, usually when the federal government gets involved in something, it doesn't do as good a job as private enterprise does, at least in my opinion. But there's really no other way around it here. Horse racing had so many opportunities to clean up its own act, and they couldn't. And now this is a step forward in the right direction. It's had growing pains. It's not perfect. There are some cost mechanism problems, and it's going to be tweaked, and it's going to be, adjusted as you go along. But at least it's something that's starting off as a positive step. And I think the sport needs to get behind it and make it as good as it can possibly be. And I think it'll help the sport in the long run.
Randy, thanks again for taking time for us during this Triple Crown run. And I know you're turning it over to Fox with Belmont. Good luck, Fox, not a Triple Crown candidate. What's next for NBC? What's your summer racing look like?
I'm semi-retired, Chris. I've got 5 more weeks of work in 2023. That's it.
Good for you.
Yeah, we're covering the Stephen Foster. We're covering the Haskell on site at Monmouth. It's the only race we're actually on site until the Breeders' Cup. Yeah. Then we've got the big races at Woodbine and a big weekend of coverage at Keeneland in the fall, and then we go to Santa Anita for the Breeders' Cup. So count them. That's 5 weekends. I'll be playing golf a lot, I hope.
Well, you deserve it. And also for NBC, you're covering the Royal Ascot, right? Have your English crew over there for that, right? You're not going over?
I'm not going over for that. Jerry Bailey's not going over for that. I wish we were, but on the flip side, at least I don't have to buy a top hat.
You look great at it. Randy, again, thanks for taking the time with us. Appreciate it, buddy. Straight ahead on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Don't want to miss this one. Erik Konkol, the new men's head basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, talks about rebuilding the program. He's been working hard at it. That's coming up straight ahead.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. It's Military Night, Saturday, May 27th, 7:05, live at BOK Center. All fans who show a military ID at the box office get a ticket for just $5. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. Get your tickets for Military Night now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank. We never forget it's your money.
Hi, I'm Jeff Metters with the Cowboy Channel. You're watching Oklahoma Sports Scene. Go Pokes.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
And we welcome you back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Very special guest joining us on the set. Finally got to catch him in the off-season, about the only time you can catch Erik Konkol, the head men's basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, who's really turning around this TU basketball program. And Coach, I know you got a tough start this first season for a lot of different reasons, but I've never known a coach who is optimistic as you are. It's a great, great optimism.
Well, we're excited about what we're doing here. First, very excited about being here at the University of Tulsa. I know our family just loves being a part of the Tulsa community. And we are thrilled with the progress we're making with our roster and a number of other things that we're doing on campus.
This isn't your first trip to the University of Tulsa either, is it?
No, it's not. You know, I remember I was a graduate assistant here back in 2000. Thrilled to be back, and never ever would have imagined coming back as the head coach when I just started out here. It was my first year in coaching the first time around, so love being back here to Tulsa.
March 22nd, 2022 is when he was introduced as the University of Tulsa's new head basketball coach. And Coach, I tell you, a lot of things, I know you knew you had a lot of work to do rebuilding this program and stuff, but I don't think you had any idea how much it was tough it's going to be this first season.
We knew it was going to be a challenge, and from a number of areas. But I give our players, our administration, and really our fans so much credit for just putting our head down and keep pushing forward. Yeah. That's all that we can really control is that. Is the attitude and effort that we bring each day, and saw some really good progress. Our fan support was tremendous, even though it was a struggle to get wins on the court. Our attendance went up by 36% this year, Chris, which is really remarkable. Yeah.
Talk about the transfer portal. It can be good, it can be bad, both ways, and you've been busy both ways in this portal thing.
Yeah, we've signed 10 players this year already, and we still have a few more to sign. And it's an exciting thing. There's some enthusiasm, there's outlook of optimism, and a number of talented guys. And we've addressed a number of needs. We're bigger, we're more athletic. We feel like we have a greater level of versatility on this roster, but we still have a few more players to sign. And that's kind of part of this whole portal and high school and junior college recruiting this time of year.
The first signing period in November, I know, Coach, you signed up some interesting kids, 6'8", Jared Hall out of Tennessee, Matt Reed, a 6'9", center out of Texas, and Carius Williams from Mississippi. Talk about those three guys that are beyond the roster.
Yes, we signed all three in the fall, Chris, and all three had very good seasons. Carlos Williams is a junior college player out of Pearl River Community College in Mississippi. He's 6'5", 230 pounds, versatile, just big wing guard, but forward type guy. Jared Hall was Mr. Basketball in the state of Tennessee and is about 6'8" or 9". He's actually competing in track right now in the triple jump and the high jump and the long jump. And then Matt Reed is a 6'8", 6'9" center out of Texas and had a tremendous year there at the high school. And we're excited about all three for sure.
I know we just had a press conference not too long ago. You introduced us to your 4 transfers coming out of the portal. And that says a lot about you. A couple of guys came from your old school, Louisiana Tech. They want to play for you again. Talk about those transfers that are coming in.
So we've signed 6 now. And we just got another one that we announced today. But starting with the 2 young men that got a great experience with, Kobe Williams and Keeson Willis. Those guys, we recruited both of them to Louisiana Tech, coached them at Louisiana Tech. They have 1 year of eligibility left because of that additional COVID waiver.
Yeah.
And they could have gone to a lot of places, but they've chose to join up again with us, and just very honored and thrilled that we're going to be able to coach them again. And then we signed Chauncey Gibson, who was a redshirt freshman at Clemson this year. He's a 6'6" guard out of Dallas, Texas, multifaceted guard. PJ Haggerty, another guard he was at TCU this last year as a redshirt freshman.
Wow.
He's from Houston. He was Mr. Basketball in the state of Texas in 2022.
Wow.
So excited about him. We just got a commitment from Jared Garcia, and he just signed actually today. He's a 4.24 transfer, Chris, so he was at a 4-year college, went to junior college, was at Salt Lake Community College last year. He's 6'8", 230 pounds, and is a really good bodied forward who can shoot the three. And then we also have a young man named Isaiah Barnes.
Michigan kid, right?
And he transferred to us from Michigan. Cool. He's a 6'7" wing player from Chicago originally. He was a 4-star recruit out of high school. So 9 players altogether. We have 10 scholarship players right now on our roster, and still some work to do yet.
Coach Erik Konkol, our first-year head basketball coach at the University of Tulsa. Coach, boy, the portal and 1 or 2 players in basketball especially can make a difference in a hurry, can't it?
Well, we only play 5, and so 2 guys can make a big difference. You get a guard, you get a forward, you can do a lot of damage. So we're still coming down this home stretch here, and there's some good players out there that we've been in contact with, but we're really excited about the number of guys that we've brought in so far. And it's going to be a new year in Tulsa basketball, and appreciate all the fans and hope that they'll come out again here real soon.
I thought it was fantastic. The support this team got, as much as it was struggling, these fans just kept coming out and kept supporting the Golden Hurricane.
They really did. We've got such a basketball community that gets it. And they knew that we were undermanned in some areas. We had a number of injuries down the stretch, Chris. But I know I've gotten so many comments out in this community about how hard our guys played, how well they played and attempted to play together, and what we're trying to do. We knew that this was not going to be a quick fix, and you don't skip steps up that ladder, but we're headed in the right direction.
Well, your past performances, use my racing term, certainly shows that, but I was so impressed too, Erik, when the season ended, and it was a tough way to finish, but you called a press conference, got the media there to talk about the season. And I was very impressed with your enthusiasm and how excited you are about the future of TU basketball.
Well, we are excited, and like I said, there's a passion that I know I personally have to be here, to be a part of this community, but absolutely see an extraordinary future here at the University of Tulsa men's basketball program. And we're building on that every single day, and it's an exciting thing, and I know our fans are right there with us. We're so appreciative of the support from monetary donations to our Golden Hurricane Champions Fund, our Loyal Always True Fund. We also have a collective now in NIL with Hurricane Impact that people have been active with. And then, of course, just the enthusiasm around this community. And when I'm around town and seeing people, we just really appreciate everybody.
Well, you should also appreciate the fact you're a young basketball player, thinking about his future too. No better place to learn from this guy, Erik Konkol. Coach, you have a bunch of camps coming up this June, July, right?
We do, and it's a big part of what we love to do. We want to connect with the young people in our community. We want to see future Golden Hurricane on our campus too. Nothing better than recruiting in this region and this local community and getting the young people to come out to camp. So we have camps for youth, for very young kids. We also have a prospect camp so we can evaluate the local high school talent also.
First one, the elite camp, June 11th, then for the youth camp, June 12th to the 15th. Another one, July 17th to 20th, and July 31st to August 3rd. So you have a busy summer plan, don't you? When do you get some time off, Coach?
Well, I will tell you, Chris, I'm celebrating 20 years married coming up in a few weeks.
Well, that's a special gal.
And so I have promised my wife I'm going to take her away for a couple days. But after that, we still got some recruiting to do and can't wait for these camps.
We can't wait for basketball at TU. The 23-24 season, looking forward to that with Erik Konkol. Got there and support him, folks. Right back with more on Oklahoma Sports Scene right after this break.
You did it, Tulsa. You name the team. We name the team. You name the team. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m., BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com to get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast pace, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
Remington Park Racing returns with the 2023 Spring Quarter Horse season, running from March 9 to June 3rd. $1 million races, multiple Saturday programs featuring the best horses in big money action, and racing champions all competing throughout the season. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Thursday through Sunday. First race at 6 p.m. nightly, Sunday afternoon racing 4 p.m. The top quarter horse paint and Appaloosa racing season continues through June 3rd at Remington Park.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine-in, curbside, or carry-out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
And we welcome you back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Joined by a great friend of ours, the Executive Director of Athletics of the Tulsa Public Schools, Mick Wilson. Boy, Mick, I tell you, what a job you've done. And I think the legacy of our old friend Gil Cloud, you picked right up and haven't slowed down since. Now, I was thinking, how many years now?
Well, this is just finished up our 2nd year.
And you've been with the TPS for?
I have, well, for a long time.
Yeah.
But consecutive now will be going on, 14 years.
Gosh.
And then was here many years ago as the boys basketball coach at East Central High School. So 2 different stints, but we're making progress.
Tulsa Public Schools, 9 public schools, but just more than high schools, of course. You're talking about how many teams? My gosh, I can't imagine.
Well, I don't know exactly the count on the teams, Chris. That varies from year to year.
Sure.
But obviously with 9 high schools and 10 middle schools, there's always opportunities for growth.
Yes.
There's always opportunities for problem solving. But we've got a good group of athletic directors and a good group of coaches, and they all they all support where they can. And obviously nothing's ever perfect, but we do the best with what we have. And we've got a lot of people that are really appreciate our kids and love and lift them up in so many different ways. So again, we don't tell our good stories enough, but we definitely push them out there to everyone so that they understand.
I appreciate the fact too that our 22-23 of course school year is just wrapping up right now, but how has it been athletically as far as champions and individual champions? And I know we always do well at TPS.
Well, again, with basketball being probably the first thing that people always think of, we had another solid year with I think at one point we had 8 teams qualify for the state tournament. And obviously we always try to build on that. This is the first year in several years we haven't had a state champion in basketball, but again, we had teams that were right there in the hunt, and obviously with a lot of returners, both boys and girls. Our girls teams continue to be stronger. Wrestling numbers this year increased tremendously across the city, and the big push with us is with girls wrestling, trying to make that stronger and better, and identify some wrestling coaches that want to help us build this program. And obviously soccer here just this last couple of weeks, having 3 teams in the final 8, with East Central boys kind of rising to the top at the last minute and having a chance to compete for a state championship. So again, across the district, strong, continues to get better, and I think part of that is our athletic directors really reaching out and hiring strong coaches and having good people in place that can direct these kids and guide our teams to be competitive statewide.
The girls wrestling programs have really taken off. Now this is available in all 9 public schools?
It is available in all 9 public schools. Again, we've made that commitment to our student athletes to be able to provide opportunities to our kids, and it's been well received. We had, for example, this year at McLean, they had several girls qualify for the state wrestling tournament. Going to continue to grow. Rogers has had some success with a state champion last year, and then many girls coming out this year that want to be a part of that. So I think once they start seeing the success, the participation numbers continue to rise. Obviously, some of the surrounding districts are having some success as well. So I think the girls wrestling is going to continue to grow, and you're going to see our numbers increase, not only here in Tulsa, but statewide.
Mick Wilson, our Executive Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. And Makes it like you never stand still with facilities. You're always making improvements, adding new facilities, improving the ones that are there. What's the latest looking to the 23-24 school year?
Well, I think we just finished, during the school year, finished up right before basketball season, the new East Central High School gymnasium, which also houses the local Y, the Eastside YMCA is now in the building. In fact, we were just giving some tours of that today to some potential coaches that walked in and saw the place, and that was just unbelievable because all the, in fact, one of the coaches made the comment that he said this is like an NBA facility with all the bikes and the treadmills and things, and so it's something we're really proud of. It's been a great partnership. Our friend Matt Hancock and I work closely together to be able to put this together, and then of course our East Central administration. So the facility there is really second to none. Not only does it have a new arena, but it has a brand new practice gym with a walking track and everything in that. So we're excited about the potential there to not only have a great facility for our district to be able to showcase that for tournaments, state playoffs, and things like that. And then we're also in the talking stages right now of a couple of bond projects, which will be at Hale High School. We're going to build an indoor soccer facility, along with a new practice gym there that can be used for small competition games. And then tennis courts, being able to work on some tennis courts at Memorial High School. Working on the baseball stadium, baseball field at Edison High School. So, and there's many others, but those are some of the things that we're just now starting and getting together, and it's going to gain some momentum so that we're able to provide our kids with a better experience.
Mick, how about our coaches roster? I know it's always a challenge with coaches coming and going, and of course recruiting coaches and keeping good coaches too.
Chris, that's probably the big challenge right now, not only in our district but statewide. Sure. It's just such a shortage again of being able to provide quality teachers, quality coaches, people that are able to come into our profession and make an impact. And so we're always on the hunt for good quality people. Again, with emergency certification and things that the state's now offering, we're able to try to attract some folks. But it's going to continue to be a challenge until we get a big growth of people wanting to go into education, whether that's college graduates or people that want to change careers. But it's a challenge, and it's a challenge across, like I said, across the state. So we continue to do what we can, but we're going to still do the best we can to put quality people in front of our kids.
Also a challenge, I know, we've talked about this before, finding officials.
Huge challenge. Again, you try to find people that want to do it. Obviously poor behavior over the years, egregious behavior that the OSSA has had to deal with really drives people out of the profession and not want to do it. It's in some cases those guys don't feel like it's worth the money or their time on a Friday night or a Tuesday night or a Saturday to go and have to put up with some of the things that our poor behavior of fans have put these people through. And I'm not saying that everyone behaves that way, but we do have a problem with people thinking that when they buy a ticket they can enter and say whatever they want to folks. And we try to educate our people, our fans and our students and people that are in our facility that, hey, let's try to support your team, but let's don't degrade people or the participants or anyone involved as we try to be good representatives to our kids.
Well, so part of the work you do, our coaches, our administrators, but you just can't downplay the importance of athletics. So many kids, that's such a big part of their lives. It gives them something to go for and really keeps them in a lot of ways in school and connected.
It does. It's always the old adage, it's kind of what the carrot that you dangle in front of someone to get them to perform. And not all kids need that, but there is no doubt that some kids maybe love sports more than they should sometimes, and they need to love the books equally, but that doesn't always happen. But along the way, if they've been offered an activity at school, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a sport, it could be anything from speech and debate to drama. If those kids find something that interests them along the way and they happen to improve their education while doing that, then we've accomplished what we're after, and that's to help these kids make their lives better through sports, through activities, through education. It's just one piece of the small puzzle that we do to try to help kids get better.
Our Executive Director of Athletics, Mick Wilson here, and while they're wrapping up the school year, we've got a busy first week of June coming up. A couple of very big events. Mick, want to talk about the Legends Foundation for Tulsa Public Schools Athletics, the golf tournament at Southern Hills Country Club, Monday, June the 5th, totally sold out. You inviting people to come play on the course that the PGA Championship was just last year.
Chris, it's probably one of those pinchable moments that Kathy Barkley helped us. She's our Legends Foundation president, helped us arrange, and then of course the benevolence of people that have been so generous to us, like Nick Sidorkas and some different people that, and the board at Southern Hills, to be able to welcome the school district that's in the heart. They're in the heart of their service area, to let us come out and play a golf tournament on their course. They wouldn't want somebody out like me out there, Chris, because I'd hack the place up. But obviously we've got a lot of good golfers that want to come out and support a good cause and play a course that is really second to none.
That's right.
It's world class. And like I said, the folks that run the place and that are the directors of Southern Hills have been so gracious and so nice. And again, kudos to Kathy Barkley for all that she's done to help us bridge the gap and put this together. So again, we're looking forward to a great turnout. It is sold out. There's 2 flights. We have a waiting list just in case.
Wow,
but I got a feeling that there's no one going to cancel at the last minute. But it's going to be a great event. And again, the proceeds will go to the Legends Foundation, which does help support all of our endeavors in Tulsa Public Schools athletics.
Another big event coming up on Thursday, the first week in June, June the 8th, the Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Hall of Fame, Doubletree Hotel at Warren Place, 6:30. 12 inductees going in, and this, the 11th annual, right?
Chris, it's something you look back now, and you and I have been a part of every one of those. Right. Started back with the idea that Gil presented to then Superintendent Dr. Ballard.
Yeah.
And we've just moved that forward year after year. It's become such a staple of what we do. It's a great night to honor so many people that have done so many great things in our district, not only coaches and athletes, but even administrators that have been a part and so supportive of athletics and activities throughout the district. And again, even though it's our 11th year, Chris, I feel like we're still playing catch up. There's still so many great athletes that and professional athletes at that we've not even gotten to on the list. And it seems like every year, just like the current 5 NFL players we have from Tulsa Public will eventually make this list, and some are already on the list.
Wow.
But it's just like the list just keeps growing, and it seems like we're trying to constantly play catch up to honor these fine people. And so we're going to continue to do that. And this year's class again is equally impressive, whether it's professional baseball, many all-state players, many great college athletes, many good coaches, many people that have done a lot of things for kids throughout this district over the years.
We have a list up on the screen there of some of the names and some guys I'm familiar with. I'm very proud of the fact that Barry Lewis, well deserved to go in our Tulsa Public Schools Hall of Fame for how many years now? 30, 40 years covering high school sports here?
And it's amazing because a lot of people, when you start learning things, they feel like, I didn't know that person went to Tulsa Public Schools. And of course, Barry being an Edison High School graduate, he's a proud Eagle. Again, you have people that all the time you look across.
Steve Turnbow
is a Nathan Hale graduate. Erik Iverson, who has been a great junior college coach. He's in the National Junior College Hall of Fame for coaching and led NEO to national championships. Erik is a Will Rogers graduate, and so
Rick Ingalls, who I covered at TU, a great punter.
Many. So people immediately say, I didn't know those folks went to Tulsa Public Schools, but we have so many that have been a part of what we've done that has made us great throughout the years, and we're just so proud of everything they've done. And so we're going to celebrate their success that night at the Doubletree on Thursday, June 8th.
Looking forward to it, as always, buddy. Thanks so much for joining us, Mick.
Chris, thank you. I feel like we could always go on and on, but I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. All you do for athletics, for our kids, for sure. Right. Come right back with our Remington Race Report. It's Trials Week at Remington Park. Details and highlights coming up.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine in, curbside, or carry out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. It's Military Night, Saturday, May 27th, 7:05, live at BOK Center. All fans who show a military ID at the box office get a ticket for just $5. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. Get your tickets for Military Night now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
I'm Tulsa World High School Sports Editor Barry Lewis, and you're watching Oklahoma Sports Scene.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the PayCom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Boy, this past week at Remington Park was a really busy one. A lot of trial action going on there. Got some big races coming up. Finals of the Remington Park Futurity, Remington Park Derby, and the Remington Park Oaks for the fillies. All the trial races. Dale Dave is trackside and has the recap for us.
The final night of the Remington Park season is billed as Champions Night. The big night on Saturday, June 3rd features 9 stakes events, with the Heritage Place Stakes races a major part of the Champions Night. Here's a look at the qualifiers for the Heritage Place Futurity, Derby, and Oaks. The first night of Heritage Place Futurity trials took place on Friday, May 12th. 12 trials in all, and the fastest qualifier from night number 1 came out of trial and race number 11, MFS Cheerio. They're off. Good start outside Jay Claude, also coming away sharply. MFS Cheerio grabs the early lead, trying to move up now. Here's a run from the inside, Miangelina Valiente. Halfway home, it's all MFS Cheerio pulling clear out by 3 and roaring on. MFS Cheerio, very impressive in this one. Jay Claude was up for second. Trained by Eddie Willis, ridden by Justine Klaber, MFS Cheerio posted the best time on the first night of trials. 5 total coming out of night number 1, 2 out of the barn of trainer Jason Olmstead and Cardiac Cowboy and She's a Famous Candy. Also qualifying AB Seis Corazones from Maria Rosa's barn and Deep Blue, trained by John Steinbow. MFS Cheerio, night 1 top qualifier. Due to weather, the second day of Heritage Place Futurity trials did not take place until Monday, May 15th. 12 trials that day as well. The fastest qualifier of the day coming out of the very final trial. They're off in the 12th and final Heritage Place Futurity trial. Congestion to the inside, coming away sharply. Fancy KVN on the lead early. Political Thing chasing. Here comes San Lencho motoring up to the outside, and San Lencho powers right to the front. Passing Fancy KVN. Ernest now trying to move third. Inside corner pocket 1, 2, 3 is a player as well. It's all San Lencho on the nightcap by 2. San Lencho was very impressive, putting up the top time of the day on Monday, May 15th, trained by Waylon Melton, who qualified 2 other runners on May 15th as well. San Lencho the best, then Flying Electric Cowboy and PYC Legacy, who won the Oklahoma Futurity back in March. Jason Olmstead qualified another on Monday, May 15, Midnight Politics, and then BP Cartel Policy makes it into the top 5 on May 15th out of the barn of trainer D. Keener. These 5 joined the 5 from May 12th in the Heritage Place Futurity Final. A total of 5 Heritage Place Derby trials took place on Saturday night, May 13th. 10 qualified to the final out of that evening's activity, including the top 2 who shared the best time in 2 different races, Hooked and Gone from race and trial number 5 and Sir James from race and trial number 6. They're off. Take a swig of this, a poor and horrible start. Hooked and Gone flies away out on the early lead from the rail. Everything you need right there between them. Honor Roll V coming up farther out. Here comes Trace Crystals, full of run late. 200 yards to go, and Trace Crystals and Take a Swig of This are going to be heard from late. Hooked and Gone trying to hold off everything you need. It's going to be Hooked and Gone on top by a neck. Hooked and Gone won the Remington Park Derby back in April, trying to pick up a second Derby win by qualifying for the June 3rd Heritage Place Derby. Sharing the best time with Sir James. Then the rest of the top 10 included Eye on the Card, Everything You Need, Tiger King, King of Woodbridge, Take a Swig of This, War Admiral, The Duke, and FDD Cloud. Sunday, May 14th, 5 trials were held for the Heritage Place Oaks. Proximity led the way. They're off. Quick start. Dina Marie charges out of there, also going away sharply where there's smoke. Hot little sash between them. One done hero now starting to move up on the outside. Here's a run for Fearless Moon, but Dina Marie has the edge, coming on strongly. Here's a late kick by Proximity. Proximity rolling on the outside, coming on quickly, and Proximity will just get there by a head. Proximity with the top 400-yard time out of the barn of trainer Maria Rosa for the Heritage Place Oaks. Also making the Oaks, Fearless Moon, trained by John Steinbow. Dina Marie by Trey Wood. Our Ladies Dynasty, trained by Eddie Willis, who also put in a Southern Hero in the 10th position. Painted Sace, trained by Toby Keaton. Sunday Silence, Juvenil Lacona Vasquez trains. Mrs. KVN, trained by Shauna Manriquez. Where There's Smoke, trained by Ed Hardy. And Curl's Joyful Wagon, trained by John Steinbow. Remington Park Racing continues Thursday through Sunday, May 25th through the 28th. The first race on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is 6 p.m. Sunday afternoon racing begins at 4 p.m. In Oklahoma City at Remington Park, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sportscene.
Live racing continues at Remington Park in Oklahoma City through June the 3rd. Post times 6 p.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Next, our Equity Bank, Lincoln's 2 cents worth. That's coming up next, and talk about some big money budgets in college football recruiting. That's next.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank. We never forget it's your money.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. It's Military Night, Saturday, May 27th, 7:05, live at BOK Center. All fans who show a military ID at the box office get a ticket for just $5. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. Get your tickets for Military Night now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine in, curbside, or carry out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
And now our friends at Equity Bank present my Lincoln's 2 cents worth, my closing sports commentary. It's the lifeblood of college football, of course. It's all about recruiting. This is the time of year when they're just kind of winding down some of the recruiting activity. Prospective student athletes and the recruiters are about to get a short break now. Next Wednesday, May 31st, the last time a coach can make one phone call to a recruit. Last Wednesday in June, then, is the last time a college coach can pay for a recruit and 2 of his family members to come visit their campus and take a closer look at their program. Next on-campus visit, well, not until September the 1st of his senior year. Starting July 1st, coaches are allowed to contact athletes off-campus during contact periods and only allowed 6 off-campus contacts. The recruits can start their on-campus visits after their first day of their senior year in high school. A maximum of 5 schools can be on the recruiting list to visit. Phones start ringing September 1st, though, once a week and then unlimited during the contact period. Now, recruiting isn't cheap. According to a USA survey recently, OU had the 5th highest budget for recruiting college football future talent. Recruiting program nationally in 2022, OU's budget was $2.63 million. It led the Big 12 by about $200,000 more than the Texas program. But both, of course, trail SEC powers like Georgia, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Tennessee. Sooners and Longhorns, as we all know, are heading to the SEC next year, 2024. So they've got to get those budgets up and going because, of course, they got to try to compete with those big boys then. Georgia, the reigning back-to-back national champion, leads all college football. What a surprise. Their recruiting budget over $4.5 million for the class of 2022. No one else was even close. Texas A&M second, $2.98 million. Tennessee third, $2.92 million. Followed by OU, Texas, Alabama at $2.32 million. Michigan, by the way, tops in the Big Ten at $3.34 million. And they're starting to see the results of that, winning the Big Ten now back-to-back. So does money count? Well, the SEC powers, along with Clemson, with the highest recruiting budgets in all college football, over the past 20 seasons have won 16 national championships. That's an 80% return on investment. That's my Lincoln 2 cents worth at Equity Bank. Until next week, here on Cox Your View Channel 3 and on YouTube on Oklahoma Sportscene. Watch anytime. It's our Memorial Week show. We'll have some pre-tape specials, including with the Boomer himself, Billy Sims. We'll be talking to us about all things football and all things Billy Sims. A lot of fun next week on the show, so join us then. Till then, have a great week. Remember to be a good sport and enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, veterans, for all you've done for all those years. Thank you.